What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is episode 5 or 6. I don't even remember of the total podcast shows that I've done, but it's really mainly episode number 1 since I've came back. I took a long time off. If you guys don't know, go back in and listen to the previous show that I did. It's only like 7 minutes long or something like that. It's not too long. It just kind of explains what my vision is and what I want to do for this going on in the future. So before we get started, though, I just want to say thank you to you guys for sticking with me and staying here by me and listening. It means a lot to me, and I got a lot of stuff I'm working on for the future, so I can't wait to share that with you guys, and hopefully someday here soon I can upgrade my equipment. I'm literally sitting here inside my car in a park that I like to go to when it's nice out in the summer in the town that I live, recording on my phone. You know, I don't have a PC, like a computer or a microphone or anything like that right now to be able to get better content from, and I don't really have a good space to use that as well. So I'm working on some things. I'm trying to get that all sorted out here in the near future so we can increase the quality, and maybe someday down the line, I don't know when. This will be definitely when I have my own place and I don't have to deal with other people and I have the money for everything, but maybe sometime down the line we'll have a video to go with it. But for now, I'm not really prepared for that, both mentally and financially. But sometime down the line we might get to that. But we're gonna make do with what we have for right now. It's not too bad. Now, also, I wanted to mention real quick before we get started, I don't want to make this kind of like what everybody else does. Joe Biden said, this, Nancy Pelosi said this. We can go on and talk about all that for an hour and just talk about what's going on. There's a million other people that do the same type of thing. I don't want to do that. I kind of want to basically almost improv it and just kind of spew out whatever comes to mind. I did touch on this a little bit in the previous episode that I did, but I want to make it more than just about politics and just kind of basically me sitting here talking to you guys, not really just explaining things, if that makes any type of sense. I don't really know how else to explain it, but I don't want to just sit here and just regurgitate what's going on in the news. Like, obviously there's going to be a little bit to that, but I just kind of want to make it to where basically it's not as scripted. So like you can kind of tell, like right now I'm not reading off of anything. I'm just talking. Like, I feel like that's more engaging to an extent. And there's so many other people out there that just, they're conservative talk show hosts that just talk about what's going on, and they don't really, you can tell that they're reading from something. So I don't know. I guess let me know what you guys think about that. I feel like it's more engaging and a little more fun to do instead of just kind of sitting here reading off of something for 30 minutes or however long. So you guys can let me know what you guys think about that. But for this episode, that's kind of what I'm doing. I literally don't really have anything in front of me right now. I'm just kind of going based off of what I've seen and what's going on. So, just going to let you guys know kind of my thoughts and my opinions on a couple things going on. Nothing too crazy today. There's really not a whole lot going on in the news. It's kind of the same old thing. Obviously, we're going to talk about the increased push for the vaccines and kind of why I think that might be a thing, or what I think they should be doing instead. That's just my opinion. Obviously a lot of people don't care what I have to think, but I've been, we'll discuss this, but I've been doing this long enough to know kind of how this works. I'll explain it all a little bit later. But another thing that has been big in the news lately is the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, or however you say his last name, Cuomo. You guys know who I'm talking about. He was accused of sexual assault. It was either earlier this week or last week by multiple people. Obviously, it's a big deal because the whole Me Too thing going on with the Democrat side. I don't know all the details specifically on who, what, when, where, why, all that. I think there's still more information that has to come out and more of a testimony from the victims that has to come out. But anyways, that's been going on, and Biden called on him to resign. He hasn't, as of Thursday, August the 5th, when I'm recording this, he hasn't really done anything. He's just doing the same thing he's been doing. But, with that said, I do believe in the term of innocent until proven guilty. I said that back in 2018 with Kavanaugh when all that was going on. You guys already know about all that. But I said the same thing, and I'll say the same thing again here with him, even though I don't agree with really literally anything that he does. He's really a terrible governor. But with that said, I do still stand by the innocent until proven guilty. And maybe I'm missing something, but to my knowledge, there hasn't been any specific concrete evidence that has come out against him. There's just kind of been accusations. So we'll have to see kind of what goes on with that. But I don't really know or think that he will resign. He probably is just going to wait it out as long as he can, which, I guess if you're looking at it from his perspective, that makes sense. Whether he really is innocent or guilty, he doesn't care, it seems like. He just kind of does his own thing. But we'll see what becomes of that. Like I said, I don't really know. It'd be nice to get him out, but, New York's probably going to vote for another Democrat, to be honest, just because of the sheer population of New York City. But, it is what it is. I personally don't live in New York, but it is kind of a shame to see what they have done the past just year or so with all the COVID lockdowns and everything. So lately, the biggest news in the world today, or at least in the United States, is the new Delta variant of COVID-19 is apparently making a surge throughout the country. And then they're still pushing even harder for the mandatory vaccines, as well as even all vaccinated people in some places are now required to wear masks again, which I thought the way it worked was if you were vaccinated, then you didn't have to wear the mask again, but apparently that is not the case. Here's the thing about the vaccines and all these new variants coming about is there's just going to be an unlimited number of variants. Obviously, if you guys know how viruses work, there are variants, there are mutations. But it's a never-ending cycle. There's always going to be different and new variants. And then, so what's going to end up happening is basically there's going to be different and new COVID boosters for these specific variants. So it's just a never-ending cycle of shots, and I don't really understand how anyone could want to do that or think that's a good thing to do, is just continuously get all these different vaccine booster shots, because that's what's going to be the thing. Is there's going to be a Delta and Delta booster and whatever other variants that there are. There's just going to be all these different boosters from the vaccine. It's never going to stop. It's just going to continue being, oh, you got to get this, you got to get that, you got to get this and this and this and this and this, and it just doesn't stop. At the end of the day, guys, I really can only speak for myself. I can't speak for you guys or anyone else. I'm not a doctor. I'm just going to say that now. I'm also not anti-vax. I know people are going to say that, and I know people just automatically jump to conclusions when people slightly question getting the COVID vaccine. They're like, well, you're anti-vax. No, I'm not. I support getting, vaccines for like measles and smallpox and stuff like that. Just as I said, like, I can only make decisions for myself. And for me personally, I just don't, at my current age and my current health state, I guess you could say, I just don't feel like it's worth it. I guess that's really the easiest way I could put it to you guys. Is like, I don't feel like it's worth it. For you guys that don't know, most of you probably don't know because I don't talk about it. I'm 20 years old, 20-year-old male. I work out 6 days a week, mostly lift weights, do some cardio here and there. I used to run a lot back in school. So I'm active. My diet is relatively decent. It's not as good as it could be. I don't eat a lot of junk food and stuff like that, though. Like, I just don't really eat enough because I'm too lazy to fix it half the time when I wake up. But like, I don't eat a lot of sugar or like soda or anything like that. I'm pretty good at taking care of myself, getting out and being active. So for me personally, I just don't think that getting the vaccine would be of any benefit to me, especially since COVID is like 99.97%, something like that, chance of survival. And that's everybody. That's not people with pre-existing conditions. That's literally everybody. So, just for me, it's not, I just don't ever support that being mandatory, especially considering that there's statistically a statistically insignificant mortality rate, if that makes any sense. Now, do I think that some people should get the vaccine? I don't know. Maybe so. Again, like I said, I can't make that decision for you. That's, at the end of the day, that's your decision. Like, you can consult your doctor and they'll tell you, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, that should be up to you and just you. But, maybe some people in the more at risk groups, people who do have pre-existing conditions and who are a little older, maybe they should give some more thought into getting the COVID vaccine, especially since COVID could present worse symptoms and be harder on them. Maybe they should consider it. But for someone like me, I will not ever get behind the COVID vaccine being mandatory. I won't do it. Like, I will not do it. I don't care what people say. People on my private Instagram, it's not really private, but it's like it's my personal Instagram. It's like, it's my name. People I went to school with follow it. It's like, I don't really post it. I don't ever post anything political on there. It's literally just my personal Instagram. There'll be people that I go to school with, and they'll post things on there that'll be like, why you should get vaccinated, and just stuff basically pushing the vaccine that they see on Instagram. And it's like, I don't respond to them. Like, that's what they want. They want you to respond, and they want you to get mad. And I don't do that, and I've kind of learned that over the years, just to ignore it. But inside my head, I'm like, I'm not doing this, regardless of what they say. First of all, they're literally the same age as me, so it's like they have no credibility at all to me whatsoever. So it's like, I think it's funny. But at the same time, like, there's nothing that they can do or say that will make me take the vaccine. Like, especially if people who are actually doctors are like trying to make people mandatorily take the vaccine, and I still won't do it. Like, I really won't do it when people that I literally went to high school with that are the same age as me are protesting about it on Instagram. It's not gonna happen. Like, there's no way. If you want to get the vaccine, that's 100% your business. I'm assuming if you're listening to this, some of you might have gotten the vaccine for various reasons, like, your work required it, or you just wanted to get it, or, had a family member who's older and, you wanted to get it to protect them, or something. There's a various number of reasons why or why not you would want to get it, but I know a lot of you guys haven't, so we're kind of in the same spot on that, you and me, if that made any sense. So basically, kind of what I wanted to explain, kind of to tie that all in, is something I do not understand is why they're pushing mandatory vaccines. They say it's for, it's for your health, it's for the betterment of your health. Why are they not talking about other ways, more natural ways to improve your health, such as working out, eating better, getting outside in the sun? Why are these things literally not being talked about at all? I don't understand why it's all vaccine. Well, I do understand. It's all about the money at the end of the day. Like, people talk about, people on Instagram will say, like, well, this is gateways to communism. I don't know. Maybe it is, but I think more so in the present, it's about the money, which everything is. But what they really should be talking about, if they wanted to be transparent with people and not kind of shady, is the way I like to describe it, is they need to explain to people the benefits of, exercise and getting outside and drinking water and making sure that you're taking care of yourself. Because chances are, if you do those things, you're going to be fine from COVID and from basically every other disease that is around. There are diseases and viruses everywhere, and you don't get sick. And you have a less chance of getting seriously sick from COVID if you take care of yourself. It sounds very self-explanatory, and it makes sense because that's the way that it is. But the media and the CDC, they don't talk about that. They just talk about the vaccine. And it's like, well, it's only been out a year, and it usually takes years for these things to be developed. It's like, I'd rather take my chances on working out and eating right than taking the vaccine. And people, like, they think you just want everyone to die from saying that. Like, that literally makes no sense. It literally makes no sense. It's so funny because it's counterproductive. It's you're contradicting yourself. And it's like, it's funny. It's really not funny, but it kind of is in a way, because when they were first starting with the vaccines, and I don't know if companies still do this, they might, like, I just haven't heard about it for a few months, but you guys know when they first started with the vaccines, if you show proof of vaccination, like the little vaccination card, you could get like a free donut or some type of like ice cream or something like that from these different companies if you show proof of the vaccine. And it's like, you want people to get the vaccine to be healthy, and you're rewarding them with donuts and fries and ice cream. It's like literally some of the worst things that you can eat for you. It's literally counterproductive. So if I had any advice to you guys, now again, before I say this, I just want to let you guys know I'm not a doctor, but I've done this stuff for a while now, so I'm just basing it off my experiences. But if I want to give you guys any advice, take it or leave it, that would be, if you don't work out, put together a routine and start doing it. I've been doing it for, I don't know, probably 2.5 years now, like consistently. I've always worked out because I played sports, but I didn't really take it super seriously until 2.5 years ago. When you're there, you feel great. When you leave, you feel great. And it just all around makes you feel better about yourself. So if you don't, I highly encourage you to do it. It is difficult to kind of build that routine in the first, week or two or so, but in the beginning, you got to force yourself to do it. That's the way it is with everything. Is you gotta make yourself do something that you don't necessarily want to do, but you need to do. And once you have forced yourself to do that thing enough, eventually over time it will become a habit, and you will feel off or weird or just out of place if you don't do that thing. So you got to build that habit to actually make it a habit, if that makes any sense. So I encourage you to work out. I encourage you to eat better if you can. Obviously, like I said earlier on, I'm not the best with that. I could get better, but it's just baby steps and taking it a day at a time. And I can't promise you anything, but I can, statistically I could say you're going to be fine if you get COVID. Like, if you take care of yourself. Like, that's just the way it is. Let's be honest. If you take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your body, take care of your mind, like, statistically speaking, you're going to be okay. Obviously it sucks being sick. To my knowledge, I haven't even had it, and it's been a year and, it's almost been a year and a half since, like, COVID became a thing. And to my knowledge, I haven't even had it. I was sick one time, and it was like a cold. I don't even really remember what it was. It was just like kind of stuffy nose, runny nose, a little bit of a cough, I think. And it wasn't too bad, but it was kind of sucked. So I went and got tested for it, and I tested negative for COVID. So I didn't even have it, apparently. And since that one time, I've never even been sick. So if I've had it, I've just didn't know. But, so, I've been to the gym and the store, and, I've traveled a little bit. I've been to Florida, and let's see, where else have I been? I've been to Wisconsin, and I've been Ohio, a few various different places, Georgia. I've even been to Seattle, Washington since all of COVID has happened, and been on airplanes. I've been on an airplane twice, 2 different times, 2 separate trips on an airplane since COVID happened, and I've never had it. So, whether that's luck, maybe, I don't know. Whether that's me being asymptomatic to it, maybe, I don't know. But at the end of the day, the point of this lesson, or not even lesson, but the point of this little rant that I want you guys to understand, and then I want you guys to kind of take some thought into, is the reason that I don't support mandatory vaccines is, first of all, number one, because I think mandatory vaccines is just straight up wrong, especially for statistically speaking, an insignificant number of fatalities due to COVID-19. I just don't think it just seems pointless to me. I could see where things like polio and smallpox and stuff like that, measles, could be, are mandatory. I could see why that would be a thing, because those are more deadly and more severe of diseases than COVID is. Let's just be honest. But that's reason number one why I don't believe that it should be mandatory. Number two would also be because I believe they're focusing on the wrong things. They're focusing specifically on getting this vaccine to improve your health, while completely avoiding and just not talking about other more natural lifestyle ways that you can take to be better off if you were to contract COVID. That's just something I wanted to talk about, is just the healthy lifestyle aspect of it, because I've heard and seen a couple people on like Instagram and other podcasts that I listen to sometimes have talked about it, but for the most part, people talk about it in terms of they believe it's unconstitutional, or it's wrong, or they just don't believe in it, or whatever. And that those are all valid, but I just kind of wanted to bring up to you guys like a more specific reason why I don't support it, because it's one thing for me to say, well, I think it's wrong, or I don't like it, or I'm not gonna support that, but it's like, the reason I don't support that is because I believe in living a healthy, active lifestyle, and then I also just believe that for my age group and my current state, that it's not needed. And people say, well, it could be just as deadly or dangerous to people my age. Statistically speaking, no, it isn't. But again, we'll see what happens, and you take that risk, and you take a risk every time you step into a car every day to go to work. So, and if I'm not mistaken, you're more likely to die in a car accident than die from COVID. I don't know, disclaimer here, I don't know if that's true or not, but I would imagine that it is very close to that being the case. So you take risks every day, and you don't even think about it because it's part of your daily life. So if I'm taking a risk on my life by not getting the COVID vaccine, then that is a risk that I am willing to take, and I'm willing to deal with and live with. So with that being said, I believe that's going to wrap it up here. It feels like the only thing going on is COVID. Maybe I missed something. If I did, I'll be sure to add that in. I'm recording this on Thursday, August the 5th, and this is going to come out on Monday, August... No. I don't even know what day that is. Like the 9th, maybe? It's either the 9th or the 10th, I think. I think it's the 9th. But anyways, if anything happens on later on Thursday, through this weekend, that will be on next week's episode. That'll be coming up the Monday after. So I thank you guys so much for listening. Next week, what I'm going to do, I forgot to do it this week. I was thinking about it on the way here when I was going to record this. I'm going to put up a question poll on my story for you guys to ask me questions for the podcast, and I'll read off the questions that you guys ask. Not all of them, but some of them, the good ones that you guys ask, that questions I get a lot for me to answer here on the show for you guys. So yeah, once again, I'll have that up next week for you guys. That'll be on next week's show. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Take it easy with your family. Be safe. I encourage you guys, even if it's just for a day, especially with the weekend coming up, if it's nice, get outside. Take a break from the internet and politics, because I did talk about this before, but it is and can be very toxic in times and just draining on your mental state. So, I encourage you guys to take a break from all of that. Even if it's just for a day, you would be surprised at how much better you actually feel. So I'll talk to you guys all in the next week. Keep up with the content on my Instagram and maybe a little bit on Twitter for the remainder, obviously, like we always do. So I'll see you guys. Bye-bye.